Hello and welcome back to Lorehammer. I'm your host, Mark. Today we got a fun episode, another Astartes Armoury Warsuit edition. What is a Warsuit? We'll get into it, but first, who's joining me today? Sweet, sweet, lovable Gerald. What's good, buddy?
Back by popular demand of the Slaneshi variety, according to Lupercal.
Yeah, exactly. He's seen that it was you and Fuzz today, and I think he had a grown-up excitement moment. Let's say that, but we also got Fuzz. Hey, man.
Hey man, back by mediocre popular demand.
Yeah, I think you guys are in the same fantasy.
I did ask Lupercal if he wanted it to be a topless Tuesday since we're recording this on a Tuesday for him, but
I'm in, son of a bitch, I'm in. Literally, the only time I wear shirts is if I go to town once a week or if I'm recording.
Yeah.
Into that, I'm pretty much as close to a nudist as legally possible with a child.
I mean, I would do it if you ever wanted to do like a shirtless like hunks of war.
Oh, I thought you meant nudist island with me, and I got really excited for a second.
I mean, maybe that too. If I can convince once the girls are all like moved out of the house, we'll join you down in Panama.
Hell yeah, brother! All right, well, until then, we'll just talk 40K.
I guess.
Well, it is what it is. Come join the Discord. We talk a lot of 40K on there. If you need a link, there's links in the description below, or you can message me on Facebooks and links get sent out. Just message. I'll send you a link. You'll find out how to get there. It's not too complicated. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's thousands of people on there. Not all at once, but definitely thousands of people on that server doing something, I guess. Lingering, lurking, sniffing about.
I have been on a Discord where there were thousands of people on all at once. Don't even bother trying to post on something like that because it's just going to immediately just get swamped.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta make sure we don't get too big. I can do that. I say enough offensive things that I don't think will get too popular. So it's fine.
It does seem like there's been some good uptick in the Discord, especially in the posting miniature pics variety, which has been really nice. It's always nice to see what everyone's working on.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
get a lot of hobbying in before the Christmas.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've been thinking what we do for some of these Christmas episodes, because this is the last main episode, and we could take some time off. But maybe a nice little hobby hang where we're just painting some minis, talking about what we're working on, whatever. But my wife said you need to do another Sanguila episode and get everyone singing another song together. But I said I think that's a one-off kind of thing. I don't think we have the voices or the willpower to do that again.
We could still have a Sanguinal episode because I have a surprise for the Lorehammer community.
Yes. I think there still will be one. But hey, if you guys got ideas what you want us to do for a little Christmas thing, maybe shoot us a message. Discord would be the place, I guess.
Do an orc Crumpmas themed episode.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I got to warm up my War Boss Gracker voice for that.
12 days of Grotmas. Okay. Grubbin's Mad Christmas. Yeah.
Hey, Grubbins, does that mean you're the Red Gobbo?
Yeah, fuck. You know what? People have heard us talk about Patreon. People have heard us talk about live streams. Fuck it. Let's get into this episode. I'm excited for this episode. There's two parts in it that I know are controversial. We're talking about Centurion Warsuits. You've either never heard of them or you've heard of them and hate them. So those seem to be the two options I've come across when talking to people. I kind of like them. I kind of think they're goofy and cute. They're kind of like my little guys, but we're also going to be talking about Saturnine Terminator armor. And if you listen to the last episode, you'll hear my kind of pre-rant about why that's in this episode. But yeah, basically, we're going to be diving into these two types of war suits. We're going to be talking about what war suits are, what the difference between power armor war suits and mechs are. Even pre-show, we had a fun little tiff and tat there that we'll get into again. So that's kind of what we're going to get up to on this episode. Oh, there'll be some other Imperial war suits that we'll talk about quickly too. But the big things is just going to be the Saturnine and the Centurion. Kind of a Heresy era, Great Crusade, and a 40K era style.
Beautiful.
I think we'll start with kind of defining war suits a little bit. To be honest, it is a term that I kind of have expanded, done one of my things where it's definitely a word that's used, and you see it in a lot of different exoskeletons or different mechs and stuff. But you'll also see definitely themes of how we could kind of solidify it into one thing and make it just a little bit cleaner. But yeah, give us this little blurb here, and we'll define things a little better.
Your wish is my command. In the endless wars of the 41st millennium, the Adeptus Astartes stride to battle encased in 3 escalating forms of warplate. Power armor is the sacred panoply of a space marine wears, a second skin of ceramite and fiber bundles that amplifies strength, shields the flesh, and turns the warrior into a living fortress. Warsuits, such as the Centurion frame, are exoskeletons, hulking augmentation rigs mounted over power armor, granting overwhelming strength, siege-breaking durability, and the capacity to bear weapons no mere infantry plate could support. Beyond even these giants stand the dreadnoughts, true mechs of adamantine and wrath, in which a mortally wounded Astartes is interred. These walking engines of death are piloted not by limbs, but by a sarcophagus-bound mind, turning ancient heroes into towering war machines that stride like iron gods across the battlefield.
Cool. Yeah. So when I'm kind of like breaking down things, I kind of see the 3 distinct armor types, styles, we'll call them, or whatever. Where we got power armor, where basically it is, you wear it. It goes over individual fingers, over your wrist. It goes and it's skin tight. You're wearing power armor. We know it. We love it. We wish we had it. One day, hopefully, we will. But
we do.
We do. One day, hopefully, I will have it personally, and not just Japan. The next thing is warsuits, where these are exoskeletons. So you often see on the Discord, Fuzz, you posted that meme of the alien where it's the warsuit, the servo lifter kind of.
Oh
thing. Yeah. So that's a good example where you're stepping into something and you are enhancing your movements, where you're kind of.
That's how. Yeah. Sorry. Ripley from the Aliens movies, for anyone listening that has seen those. Yeah.
Yeah. And you kind of get in and you pilot that way, where it's enhancing your strength. And with power, or with Space Marines, they will be wearing power armor and then going into these war suits. So it's like power armor on top of exoskeletons. Pretty spicy. And then the final category is mechs, and that's clearly dreadnoughts. Where you're inside something, you're piling it with either like controls or mentally. You're not having to actually do any physical movements to move limbs necessarily. Like we're talking joystick controls, or just like you're in it.
So just to make sure, I want to make sure I caught the right part of this. So for your definition of like the warsuit, that in-between portion, the warsuit still augments your strength like the power armor does, whereas a mech suit is just its own servo motors or its strength. It doesn't factor in your physical abilities at all.
Exactly. I think that is the key, is that like augmentation, as opposed to, you're like, you're driving a vehicle, my car is not a warsuit. Yeah. So that's kind of
certified.
That's how I kind of defined them. At the beginning of the show, you mentioned the Invictus warsuit, and that's the Primaris kind of half dreadnought, half not cripple, where basically they've taken a dreadnought and you can pilot with it, like you can get in and out of it now. There's controls for it. You're not wired into it anymore. It's like a life support system. So
exactly, yeah. Like the lore is, it is basically a stripped down like dreadnought chassis that has that kind of like, if you, for anyone that's seen Aliens, that load lifter style roll cage frame on the front that the Primaris Marine sits in.
Yeah, and like even though it's called the Invictus warsuit, I don't qualify it as that, because you're sitting in it, right? Like your arms aren't in the arms, nor are your legs in the legs. And every other one of these warsuits, you get either arms are in, or they're tucked up on you, or your legs are, like one portion of your body somehow is doing that augmentation. So
okay, all right. Should we start with the Centurion armor? So a Centurion stands as an Astartes reforged, encased within an impenetrable exo-frame, layered atop his power armor. A relentless warsuit engineered to elevate him beyond the limits of flesh and ceramite. This augmented engine of war drives its pilot forward with the unstoppable force of a siege ram, unleashing tank-breaking firepower with an awe-inspiring precision. Swathed in massivized plating and reinforced systems, the warsuit renders its bearer all but untouchable, shrugging off devastation that would annihilate lesser warriors. Born from designs rediscovered after the Age of Apostasy and sanctified by the Mechanicus, these towering constructs now stride within the armories of countless chapters, monuments of unyielding might and enhanced battle-born supremacy. And for those of you that have paid the Imperial Tithe and want to watch the video version of this, Marker's bringing up some pictures of the Centurion warsuits. I think these things look so freaking sweet. Like I'd never heard of these until I think it was the Terminator Armor episode maybe that you guys did, and you brought these up. And if you like Space Marines, but you just think it could be bigger and better, then the Centurion warsuit is for you.
Yeah. Yeah, if you like power armor, yo dog, I heard you like power armor. I got some power armor for your power armor. So you can stomp the heretics. Yeah, I like them too, man. I think they got like a unique silhouette. I feel like the artwork comes off a lot better than the models do. Like if you
Okay, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
there seems to be
I
this
kinda
like
agree.
little knee gap that they do on all the artwork that I don't know, and the crotch guard armor plate also seems a little different on all the artwork, but it looks cool, man. I fucking love it. Like you're stomping
I'm trying to
around, shooting.
So I'm trying to point at one of them like you can fucking see what I'm doing, but there was one of them up. There's one of them up a little bit. It was like a bigger version of it. It looked like, but it was a model.
Yeah,
There on the right there, and yeah, it has that knee gap. Okay, so it looks like someone maybe did a 3D printed like upscaled Centurion, but yeah, that looks really really cool.
Yeah, just that little bit there. I love it. Gerald, what's your opinion on these guys?
I like the artwork more than I do the models themselves. And unlike Fuzz, my first exposure to the Centurion model was the text-to-speech animation, where where the Emperor, after getting the text-to-speech installed, is introduced to a Imperial Fist Centurion suit, and he literally goes, "Oh my fucking god, that is so fucking adorable." Please hop on my lap, young Astartes.
I mean, they're
warsuit.
they are stout looking. Like, yeah, they're just it's like if you took a Space Marine and you widened it to have like more dwarf proportions, but it was fucking 9 feet tall.
Yeah, they kind of look like they've been pressed down. Hey, like just like wide.
It's also it sounds like, and I correct if I'm wrong, but it sounds like they also either predate like the Imperium or just were lost right after the Horus Heresy, maybe.
Yeah, we definitely will get into that. They do have an interesting little history of how they came to be, because they weren't always around, and it was kind of cool both in lore and in like real life when these got introduced. Just the way they did it. We'll get into it when we get into the history and stuff, but it was kind of a fun, like, okay, something new's coming. Like, how do we bring a new thing into 40K when back in the day you weren't allowed new things? So we'll get to it. We'll dive into it right now with the history. We'll find out. I forget how I organize this, but Centurion warsuits stand amongst the most implacable and Wow. Okay. Let's try this again. Let's try not to sound weird. I've been fucking around with an accent all day for my kid. You ever do that, and then it just gets to your brain and you forget how to word? But whatever. Centurion warsuits stand among the most implacable and overpowering engines of annihilation fielded by the Adeptus Astartes, augmented juggernauts capable of rupturing fortress walls with merciless force, purging entrenched foes in incandescent flame, or scything through advancing lines with unstoppable precision. They stride as armored behemoths, walking engines of ruin whose wrath rivals that of tracked war machines. with the slab-shattered drill mounted upon the assault Centurion, or the gravity-crushing armaments wielded by the Devastator variant, the arsenal of the chapters roar with these enhanced warsuits, each forged to break sieges and extinguish resistance without pause. Debate endures among Imperial savants regarding the first deployment of these towering constructs, for their inception lies buried within the shadowed turmoil of the Age of Apostasy. It was an era of rampant schism when faith itself ignited system-wide purges, and unencountered heretics were reduced to ash beneath the Imperium's wrath. Across that age of convulsion, the realm of man groaned under internal warfare, so absolute that even the most fortified bastions shattered. When we went through all the segmentums, when we got to this part, yeah, that was pretty messy part. Humans have had like kind of three real big areas where it's like the Horus Heresy, this Age of Apostasy, and then now like the Dark Imperium, I guess we call it, or whatever timeline we're currently in. During the siege of Drax, the entire hive was obliterated. The Cadian 23rd burned to plasma in moments. Whole Space Marine companies were torn apart, their bodies hurled into the void or slain beneath the collapsing spires of their own strongholds. The specter of the Horus Heresy stirred once more. The fear of another galaxy-breaking civil war gripped the High Lords of Terra. It became undeniable that the Imperium required augmented warplate of unparalleled brutality, armaments capable of pulverizing Citadel walls, tearing through apostate barricades, and ending rebellions before they could poison star systems. Thus, the Mechanicus gridded themselves for the inevitable. Tech priests launched the voyages of understanding, dispatching arc fleets into unmapped reaches and scouring forbidden archives for ancient schematica. For these quests, they returned bearing relic knowledge, fragments potent enough to reshape the forges of Mars. Manufactura roared to life, trembling under relentless industry. Liturgical chants, that's a fun word. Chants reverberated through smoke's shrouded vaults as tech adepts reforged forgotten doctrines of war. Promethium-fed furnaces consumed laborers by the thousands, while colossal assembly lines hammered out the new rights of armors and devastation for the Adeptus Astartes. Some of the exhumed STC fragments, such as the I don't know what that would be, the XV or the V10 Belaram Ravager and the Theramine missile suits, proved too volatile, their corrupted blueprints birthing abominations rather than weapons. These unstable designs were sealed within the vaults of stasis, lest their forbidden lures seduce the unwary. Yet from the forges of Mars emerged prototypes of a new kind of Astartes engine, an augmented warsuit built to envelop existing power armor, merging pilot and machine spirit into a single relentless will. As a declaration of intent and legacy, it was named after the ancient champions of the legions. It was called the Centurion. Neither assault nor devastator variant would taste battle during the Age of Apostasy. Instead, these armor colossi remained entombed within the Mechanicus vaults, guarded, sanctified, and endlessly refined as their spirits simmered in enforced stillness. The horrors of the age ended before the Centurions were unleashed, leaving them yearning for war. Leaving them yearning for war, yet untouched by it. Poor little guys, fuck. Whispers spread amongst the adepts that the Omnisci himself has withheld his sanction, uneasy at the devastation such titanic force of might unleashed. Others murmured darker truths that these augmented warhawks hungered for battle. Their machine spirits brooded, restless and thirsty for the blood they had been denied. All right, that's kind of what I was kind of talking about. That how they introduced it, like they kind of even acknowledged in universe lore, like we don't really make new things. Like we definitely need some type of new weapon or something to deal with the Age of Apostasy. Okay, let's go find something from 10,000 years ago. That seems easier and more like a sure sound thing than making something ourselves. Like it's almost heretical.
Well, it is.
It's heresy. Like new technology. What's that?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's the way they're getting around it, because it is old new technology. It is something that, the Emperor, the Omnissiah, was already part of its plan, that they're just finding again. It's not anything new. It was placed there to be discovered, at the right time, or whatever, however they wanted to find it. Yeah, it is something that existed already, though, and that's how they, legitimize that it's not, innovation, because it already existed.
Yeah. And like maybe, they changed out the USB ports to a new fancy 3iX power armor mark, did a couple little tweaks like that. Maybe they had to upgrade the pauldron size. They're like, no, 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 no. We need pauldrons. And they gave them pauldrons finally. Sure. But yeah, it's pretty much always been, well, not always been a thing, but was a thing. And I thought that was kind of just that clever way of getting around, like, one of my big things about Call when he came out was he just came out and he's like, not only did I make better space marines, I made hover technology, I made plasma technology. He touched everything and made everything better. It's like, that's heresy. Somebody burn him already. Like, you're not allowed to do that. Did you like candles, Call? Did you?
Right. Yeah,
I've been trying to burn him for ages now.
Right.
Yeah.
They could have, had him come out with, not necessarily that that he improved on technology, but Call could have come out and was like, hey, I'm back and I've got these STCs for all of this technology that was created before. Now we can implement it and, like, barter, use it to reinforce, like the Treaty of Mars, and reinforce that relationship and make Mars indebted to him or something.
Yeah. We had that one cool line where it's like, these weapons were too great to use, so they locked them in the stasis vault. Like,
Oh yeah,
it'd
for
be
the other
so
two.
easy to just open it up, Call, and now you got all this new technology that's not new.
I do like that. I've always thought the idea of the machine spirit within 40K was really, really fun to, like, think about and play around with. Like, is it AI? Is it actually a machine spirit? Is the Omnissiah a real thing? Like, does every little machine have its own actual little personality? Because, like, reading, especially even some of the guardsman books, some of the Imperial Guard, every flashlight, every las gun, every little piece of technology has its own machine spirit to them. So the idea of, like, these big warsuits having their own machine spirit, and maybe the Astartes have to wrestle with them to tame their destructive force, or they're going to go out of control. Just the idea that is very fun, very cool.
Yeah, it's almost like a mini Knight and their Throne Mechanicum, where it's like that dual pot or dual sentient creatures kind of battling over what to do, but ultimately they both want violence, so it's fine.
Yeah. I'm going to address in the chat, Mini Feast, as, is the machine spirit different than the warp? And I would say yes, as far as, I guess as far as we don't actually know, but the machine spirit would be something else. Some people think it's machines just having, like, they're around for so long that the machine develops its own version of AI, whether it is actually a spirit by the Omnissiah, in which case it might be warp related, maybe. But as far as I know, like, technology still works around, like, blanks and pariahs, so it probably doesn't actually have to do with the warp, if it's actually a thing at all. It could also just be, again, it could be made up superstition. We don't actually know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
that's the funny thing about the Mechanicus is we're not 100% sure. It's not confirmed.
Yeah, and it could be all of the above. Like, maybe your lasgun doesn't have a machine spirit, but your Lehman Russ Devastator that's been around for 6,000 years has developed some sort of sentience in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about demon engines, well, there's definitely spirits in those machines.
Yes.
So
I guess those are technically machine spirits. Yes.
Yeah. You mentioned that, like, blanks can be around vehicles, so they're probably not warp tied. And I agree with you, like, they probably are not warp tied. But just to kind of add to it, one of the reasons why demons want to be bound to metal machines is because then they are bound to the material universe, and things like blanks and stuff doesn't affect them. So, it does have that possibility that machine spirits are some type of warp thing. But like you said, I don't think that's what's implied, or, like, is really kind of the coolest of all the options. I think like, yeah, you have this 6,000-year-old Lehman Russ tank that like how many soldiers have been in it and like prayed their please let me live one more battle and I'll change your oil finally, you know, and they
Right.
put all this energy into it and they build up this
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of concept of the machine spirit. Like, yeah, pretty cool.
What so I was listening to the audiobook for an Imperial Guard book called Steel Tread, and in part of the book, one of the guys uses a like sort of heretical tech right to get some more power out of the engine by literally putting drops of his blood into the wiring of the Lehman Russ and hitting these buttons in a certain order. Now whether the blood did anything or not, who knows? But it fucking worked, and it was great. I fucking loved it so much.
But it got results, so
yeah, right. Can't argue with that.
There's a line in one of the books that basically everything above basic tech has a machine spirit. You also have the bigger machines that are stronger, the spirit, so there's more likely just equal to CPUs for us. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, maybe the thinking that they talk about is just like that CPU, that processing, and that's. But there definitely are some that are programmed very oddly, if that's the case.
Yeah, that's not even getting into like other tech like the Votan and stuff that are
sure
that are literal AIs. So
yeah.
So shall we talk about the Centurions and their redemption arc?
Yeah.
All right. Once sanctioned for war, Centurion Warsuits entered Imperial annals as unyielding engines of sanctioned destruction, birthed in the crucible of the Age of Redemption. Forged through iron pacts with the Adeptus Mechanicus, these adamantine bastions were first entrusted to the Imperial Fists and Iron Hands, chapters whose doctrines of fortified warfare made them natural masters of such relentless constructs. Assault and Devastator veterans were chosen as their pilots, interred within systems of pistons, plating, and sealed adamantium that transformed a single Astartes into an augmented bulwark of unstoppable intent. With these warsuits, companies projected the Emperor's will like a tectonic shockwave, crushing resistance across star systems with mechanized certainty. From orbit, Imperial Fist strike forces hurled their Centurions into the heart of planetary bastions, the warsuits crashing down like meteoric judgments to pulverize fortifications and annihilate citywide blockades. They returned not only upon the faithless, but upon the alien and the unclean. Xenos warships streaked across the void only to be breached by Centurion assault. Demonic monstrosities clawed from the warp only to be re-entombed in fire and ceramite. Wherever the Imperium faced annihilation, these colossal suits advanced, implacable as continental drift, shielding Imperial hosts from losses that would have shattered lesser armies. Voidcraft orbiting heretic worlds were torn open by their siege claws. Planets liberated from Xenos tyrants immortalized these augmented warriors in stained glass and vox hymnal shrines, depicting their towering forms as incandescent angels of imperial wrath, haloed in the glow of burning heresy. It was inevitable that other chapters, the Ultramarines, the Salamanders, and countless more, embraced the Centurion's devastating potential. To some, they were siege engines. To others, mobile cataclysms, Devastator configurations unleashed furnace-bright torrents that erased enemy lines, while assault Centurions shattered heretic idols and bone alike beneath hydraulic fists and molecular saw talons. Throughout the Imperium, salvation followed in their shadow. On Orbide 2, a roaring orc wah broke upon Centurion lines.
Can I get a wah in the chat?
Broke upon Centurion lines like a tide against unbreakable stone until relief forces arrived. In the Vissus system, Drukhari raiders were pulverized before they could ravage the essential agri-worlds. Rebellions collapsed as their heretic cores were excised with mechanical precision. By the late 38th millennium, it was unthinkable for any chapter's armory to lack these monolithic suits of augmented war. Though only the Assault and Devastator variants are fielded openly, the Mechanicus once forged numerous experimental designs, unstable, forbidden, and quietly erased from record. Their existence lingers only as rumors, and the Adeptus Mechanicus ensures they remain forgotten. This is making me think of that scene from Iron Man 2 of that scene from Iron Man 2 where Tony Stark is like showing different people like testing out their own version of the Iron Man armor to hilarious and scary failure.
Oh my god, that looked like it hurts so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah, I like. So one thing is reading this and listening to Gerald talk about it. I'm curious what would be stronger, a Centurion Warsuit or a Dreadnought.
We have a picture pulled up, just even side by side for scale of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're pretty similar. Like if we're talking like old school firstborn stubby dreadnoughts, like if we're talking Primaris boys, those Primaris dreads they're huge. I'm even just looking at war gear options, and man, they're probably pretty comparable. I think a dreadnought would still take it though.
I think a dreadnought would probably have thicker armor and could probably field heavier weapons. But I think the Centurion would be a more agile suit. Agile being very relative here.
Yeah, very relative. Yeah.
Very relative.
Very, very relative.
Oh my god. Yeah. And the I wish these suits had like swords or something. Their melee options we'll get to are like these weird drills or whatever.
Yeah. Anyone that's listening that's ever played Deep Rock Galactic, the driller class in that game has those kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, wow, fucking cool. Like they're not a weapon of skill. So like piloting this warsuit, it's not like a weapon of finesse. Where you can even like say, okay, like this is like a super veteran. He's going to be really good. Like you got these clunky weapons. Like, yeah, you might be better at shooting and stuff. That's possible. But yeah, when it comes to like the dreadnought, like, who knows which one would I think the dreadnought.
They both seem like, they're in their own way are more mobile weapons platforms than something like you said to engage in like one-on-one combat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Tell that to the Helldrake from Space Marine 2.
That's fair.
In the name of the Emperor, I cast you down.
Right. And then like the part at the end too, they had the experimental designs that were unstable, forbidden, and erased from their records. Like, looking at like all the ridiculous things that are already on there. What did they add?
Yeah, jeez. Oh man. Yeah. I like the little bits of like, okay, the Ultramarines are like, well, that's pretty fucking useful. Let's use that. Like, they seem to really get wide deployment pretty quick. Like, seem to win renown, and everyone accepted it. I like when they do that. It's kind of like, okay, let's hope that the people accept it too. If we say enough people accept it, people will have to accept it. But I like it.
Yeah,
I think it makes sense though that like the Imperial Fists and the Iron Hands were the first ones to essentially kind of field it because it matches like their combat doctrine. Yeah,
for sure. And that's a good thing to note too. The Iron Hands have this, so this is like chaos capable. There are Chaos Space Marines that have it. I don't think you get any models, and you definitely don't have any rules. But I think that's more just like.
Well, that'd be Iron Warriors, right? Not Iron Hands.
Yeah, that'd be Iron Warriors, wouldn't it?
Oh, sorry. Well, we'll get to the chaos. My point on chaos does stand. There are chaos centurions. Like if you look at obliterators, the Chaos Space Marine obliterators are actually wearing Centurion armor.
Yes, I'm sure the chaos has gotten a hold of these. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'll pull up one.
Yeah.
Obliterator.
All right. While he's doing that, I will talk about what it's like to get into one of these bad boys. Oh yeah. Oh, that looks really, really cool. So I'm gonna stop right now. Yeah, that obliterator model looks awesome.
Ooh.
Everyone listening should pay the Imperial tithe, watch on the video as we ooh and ah looking at these sweet, sweet minis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love the obliterators. Yeah, but you can tell here, especially on this side view, where the pistons on the Centurion armor are and all that. So
yeah, it really lends itself to, like you're talking about, your definition that it has the pistons and servos that augment the your strength that's already augmented by the power armor, and so it just keeps being a force multiplier.
Yeah.
So what it's like to step into a warsuit. The Centurion warsuit is an immense siege-borne exo-frame, a sanctified engine forged to unleash the augmented ferocity of the Adeptus Astartes into places no mortal tread could ever reach. A space marine pilots each construct, locking his will to the awakened machine spirit of his warplate. The Centurion looms higher than a Terminator and bears the endurance and annihilating force of a compact walking fortress. Back to the, Iron Hands and Imperial Fist doctrine of being a walking fortress. Doom claims any bastion that dares bar its gates against such an armored titan. Built from monolithic ceramite slabs, each one consecrated with rites of binding by red-robed priests and set into place by crane-limbed servitors, driven by consecrated data spirits, the warsuit becomes a moving citadel. With this adamantine bulwark, Centurions endure storms of destructive fire while the warrior within drives hydraulic fists through hive bulkheads or immolates armored Xenos into incandescent ruin. The warsuit's design allows tech marines and servitors to access exposed pistons, shock cables, and machine joints to anoint them with sacred oils. For a battle brother to ascend into the frame, the dorsal section, dorsal meaning the back for anyone that's unfamiliar, dorsal section lifts open like a vault. Here he may exchange his helm for a specialized Centurion helm, amplifying siege telemetry, target tracking, and feedback from the rotary drills, or trust solely in his genetically perfected instincts. Neophyte pilots often choose the helm to better dominate the warsuit's machine spirit from within a sealed cradle, imposing their will upon an engine that hungers for destruction. Once they master its ferocious impulses, they relax their command, letting their consciousness flow outward until warsuit and warrior become one relentless instrument of war. Inside, reinforced harnesses lock the marine into the armored cradle, allowing him to survive the concussive force of weapons meant to rupture battle tanks. Power conduits link the suit directly into his own armor systems. As the interface ignites, new strength surges through him, an overload that would obliterate an unaugmented human.
Yeah, you have this little line here where they getting into it, they're like locked into like a harness and stuff where when you look at the back side of these models, you can actually see the Space Marine power armor. Let's do backside maybe.
Yeah, you're saying, you can see the power armor within the power armor.
There you go. You can kind of see on that guy. The power armor with it. So their legs are actually down inside this thing, but their arms are folded across their chest, and then they're kind of locked into place. Like their arms don't go into these arms.
Okay. So then that begs, I guess that kind of begs the question. We can discuss it later. But then if their arms are locked like that, is it augmenting their strength if their arms aren't moving? For your...
Well, so I feel like what they describe this doing is this suit allows them to carry the heaviest weapon. So it's like they're augmenting the legs to allow them to carry a little bit more. So it's kind of that, like, you have to have the legs or the arms or both, ideally, if you're really fancy with that billionaire bling dollars and you can buy it full augmentation. But yeah. So I think it's that carrying. Now they're able to, like, otherwise a Space Marine just can't carry 4 las cannons. Like, you just can't.
Right. Yeah. And I really like, so this kind of reinforces what I was thinking from before, and even from the last section too, about the machine spirit. And my thought was that it initially went to the Imperial Fists and the Iron Hands, because I feel like they would have the best, not just combat doctrine, but temperament for dealing with that kind of like war-hungry machine spirit, that like stoic resolve of the Imperial Fists, and that cold calculating logic of the Iron Hands just seems like it's the perfect mentality to counteract that bloodlust in the machine spirit of the Warsuit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Give it to some death company. It'll be fine.
Right?
What's the problem?
I wonder if like other companies, since like if like other chapters started using them, if any of them have had like Centurion Warsuits like go like berserk, go on like a berserker rampage, not necessarily attacking like allies, but just kind of like the machine spirit overpowers the pilot and just goes hog wild.
Yeah. Or like the pilot dies inside, but then the suit's still fighting orcs or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Mm-hmm.
Carrying the limp Astartes around with it. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And then like the way it talks about like getting in reminds me of, I think it's how it works in the Fallout universe for the like the Brotherhood of Steel power armors. I think you do, the back opens up and you climb in that way and you slot it and it closes behind you.
Yeah. As far as the show is concerned, that's how you get into one of those suits.
Yeah. I do love me a good, I'd love to watch like a video of like a Space Marine suiting up into their power armor and then suiting up into a Centurion suit. Like,
and then getting in a Land Raider and then getting on a battle. Yeah.
It's like the inception of Warsuits.
Right. I think a couple of us have made the joke on the Discord. You're like, yo, dog, I heard you like power armor, so we put power armor in your power armor so you can warsuit while you warsuit or something like
Fuck yeah.
I love a good power armor suit up sequence like you've seen, you know, for Astartes and StarCraft and in Fallout. Yeah, I don't know, it's just so cool.
Yeah. Women like to watch fashion concerts. Women just walking across the stage, strutting their fancy little dress, man. Like, I want to see the guy put on a lot of metal plates. Like, I don't want to be able to see any part of that dude when we're done. I want there to be 10 inches of metal between us.
Just welded and riveted into your power armor.
Yeah.
And then you walk down the runway after that.
Yeah.
The mechanic, like instead of Victoria's Secret, the Mechanicus Secret power armor show, strutting down the runways of Mars. Cannot wait.
God. Cannot wait.
So back to the Centurion armor. At first, initiates must enter a trance to subdue the Warsuit's machine spirit, wrestling for dominance before the first system is even awakened. Some spirits refuse the warrior's command, lashing back with mind-searing feedback that can shatter even into Astartes' enhanced neural pathways. Okay, so yeah, it looks like if you are not up to snuff for the Centurion Warsuit, it could just fry your brain, even, you know, with as strong as an Astartes' mind is. Such dangerously potent constructs are swiftly claimed by tech priests for ritual decommission, never to be seen again. Like 40k nesting dolls, with the suit, in a Land Raider, in a Thunderhawk, in a battle cruiser,
in a phalanx.
So, right. So they're reclaimed for ritual decommission, never to be seen again. Once bonded, the proper combat posture requires the Space Marine's arms crossed behind the armored breastplate and auxiliary weapons, for the Warsuit obeys not muscle or motion, but thought alone. Certain chapters, such as the Iron Hands, are singularly adept at communing with such engines, their creative rejecting frailty making them ideal masters of these augmented shells. Their belief that flesh is weakness, even Astartes' flesh, drives some to remain interred longer than necessity demands. A number have become permanently fused within their Centurions, their nervous systems so entwined with the machine that removal would mean certain death.
That's crazy.
Just love your Warsuit so much. It's like, why can't I quit you? And you're just permanently fused.
You? Fuck yeah. Yeah. What a way to live. What a way to fucking live. Just imagine, like, those things look awkward to exist in like day-to-day life, you know? If you get fused into one of those, you're not going to the mess hall no more. You're not sitting down having a nice meal. I guess that's fine.
But But I get, yeah, like if you're in Astartes, like, and especially like it talks about the Iron Hands, you don't care. Eating is just an inconvenience. Just have my nutrients, injected into my veins through my warsuit porthole or whatever.
Warsuit
Right.
porthole food. I do like that, like when these suits like go on that little rampage and burn out in Astartes, that they actually do decommission it. Like it's not worth risking Astartes for this, I guess. Where when we're looking at like Imperial Knights, I mentioned them. They will fry pilots. Maybe not quite often, but it does happen when young strong pilots will get in there and then they will get wiped out and they will use that suit again, and that might be the lesson for the next pilot. But with the Astartes, yeah, they're like, no.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that in the. Yeah, I remember you talking about that in the Knights episode. However long ago that was. But I wonder if like a Knight warsuit, because like the Centurions are rare, but the Knights have to be rarer than the Centurions, and they're definitely more resource intensive to have to like break down and make a new one than the Centurion armor is.
Yeah. I wondered, that'd be one of those weird number crunches where I'm sure if you actually crunch some numbers, we'd get a weird skew of actually Centurion suits being rarer than Knights.
And maybe they were because they were lost for so long, so the Knights were made over a longer period of time, so there's more of them. But the Centurions might be like catching up. I don't know. And they're like, yeah.
I have this cool little picture pulled up here where it's once again a backside view, but this one's all mechanical. So if you're like an Iron Hands player and you like that idea of getting your chapter master captain or whoever welded into that suit, rip out the legs, little piston replacement, very cool. Looks like there's a couple different styles that people have kind of come up with that 3D printing. Yeah, very cool. All right, pilot training. Centurion warsuit training demands an iron depth of focus and an unbreakable resolve, even for a transhuman warrior. The aspirant is hurled through brutal simulations, siege recreations, and endurance trials designed to prove he can command a war engine of such overwhelming mass and power amid the most violent theaters of battle. In accordance with the Codex Astartes, each chapter forges its own warriors. A vehicle indoctrination is a crucial pillar of this regime. Only when a Space Marine has mastered tanks, gunships, and armored transports is he permitted to test his will against the Centurion frame. Though some chapters, most famously the Imperial Fist, identify potential pilots far earlier, sensing them the rare disposition required to merge mind and machine. The indoctrination of the Devastator Centurion centers around conditioning the warrior to absorb the seismic recoil of the suit's catastrophic weaponry. The warsuit allows an Astartes to stride into war, bearing the arsenal of a battle tank, and such unleashed force would pulp the bones of any unaugmented being. Shockwaves hammer through the chest plate of his armor, sending ricocheting impacts through his reinforced musculature and neural lattices. Convulsions that would cripple the unprepared. Thus, the Devastator Centurion aspirants develop monstrous upper body density. Even by Astartes standard, the most formidable pilots possess not only augmented strength, but a fortified clarity of mind, enabling them to maintain ruthless target priority while enduring constant punishing recoil. For the Assault Centurions initiates, readiness is measured by their mastery of the siege drill, a roaring augmenting spear of breaching war. Yeah, okay. Their trials are as much mental as physical, requiring relentless will to sustain its earth-shattering force. Some chapters favor protracted training in fortress monasteries, others thrust into initiates directly into the crucible of open war, letting the siege drills howl as they carve their baptism into enemy lines. Because Centurion warsuits are rare and specialized war assets, most pilots are chosen from the chapter's fire support and assault cadres, never from the honored first company. Veterans possess immense battlefield versatility, demanded across countless theaters where massive warsuits will be ill-suited. Some veterans, with characteristic bluntness, declare them being entombed within such ponderous engines is beneath their station. unworthy of their refined lethality. Yeah, cool. So couple of things here. We get these guys who the way to join these is you go through the motor pool and not through the standard 1000 Astartes kind of. You start as your scout, then your devastator, then your assault, then your tactical. Where you have your Astartes, they're broken into 1,000, but then you probably have roughly another 500 more, maybe a little less depending on the chapter. But if you're talking like first founding, you probably have another 500 Astartes who man Rhinos, Land Raiders, Thunderhawks, all those vehicles. So yeah, to get into one of these Centurions, you have to master a bunch of different like war spirits already that you master those war spirits more with controls more so than like through mental fortitude. And then you get to this one and you're like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, and it's such a specialized thing too, like you're saying. You have to, learning how to operate all these other machines and then learning how to operate this Centurion Warsuit is going to be its own, like I said, specialized thing. I do like that veterans, they don't use it for veterans because it is not as flexible as Dreadnought armor would be.
Yeah.
Like it is very much like a mobile siege breaking platform, as opposed to just like, the tactical Dreadnought armor. That tactical word is very important in there.
Yeah. Especially even like, because Dreadnought armor can teleport. So even if you're in like a field of battle, an open field of battle, you can get that teleportation across. With these guys, they'll have to ponder across or shoot. But yeah, I like that. Now, if you have your own chapter that's not Codex following or whatever, you could make your first company where these things, no, who cares? But I do like as a standard rule that it's not recommended. It's kind of a waste. It's like putting veterans in a Rhino. You're like, yeah, okay, you're the best Rhino pilot or driver in all the galaxy, but it's fucking waste, dude.
Exactly. Like you want them to have that specialized skill set. So they're still obviously going to be like experienced and capable Marines because, like I said, they are very rare. So you don't want to waste it on, a scout Marine or somebody who's only been a space Marine for a couple decades. But yeah, it's a middle ground because they have their place.
They have their place, yeah.
And you're essentially deploying them like walking vehicles anyways with the kind of firepower and armor plane that they have already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about their role? Centurion Warsuit pilots are relentless, thunderous specialists, unleashed as line-shattering juggernauts and siege-breaking leviathans, champions for whom speed is meaningless beside unstoppable endurance. A Centurion does not fuse with the Black Carapace. It is an external war engine that amplifies the might of Astartes' warplate, forging a transhuman warrior into a walking fortress without the tomb bondage of a dreadnought sarcophagus. Battle Brothers master Centurions through rigorous vehicular indoctrination. Pilots are not drawn from a chapter's exalted first company, but hand-selected from its fire support and assault cohorts. The reason is simple. The Centurion demands total commitment to a singular, brutal mode of war, while its colossal exoshell lacks the fluid adaptability that veteran warriors require. So that just kind of confirms what we were just mentioning, like right before that. So,
yeah, I'm just reading the chat here. There's also Titans that can teleport, which is freaking dope. A Titan drop strike inbound. It's always like Titans can teleport. Fuck.
Oh no, Deep Strike Titans. Save me.
Back in 6th edition, we had the deep striking Land Raider where the Blood Angels could drop Land Raiders from the sky on people across the board. Because I guess the lore was they had Thunderhawks, so just fucking like just tuck and roll, Land Raider. We'll slow down to a slow 100 miles and just tuck and roll and drop them out.
I've been replaying Mass Effect lately, and like when you land on a planet, they just drop your vehicle from the sky, and you just like got some like retro thrusters, so you soften your landing a little bit, just chunk on the ground.
Just a crater, yeah.
These things are they're just cool. But yeah, so But what kind of weapons are these going to wield? You know, we've talked that they have, you know, a massive arsenal of like heavy weapons that they can use. So the Centurion assault squads, they you have your Centurion Warsuit that can be equipped with twin-linked flamers, one on each arm. The ironclad assault launcher, which mounted on your chest, it looks like 3 pods, like for like shooting, like firing rockets out of.
Yeah, they're like bolters. Maybe not like full bolters, but they're bolt weaponry. Maybe they're more closer to bolt pistols, but yeah.
Okay. 2 siege drills, which if so, like I said, if you've played Deep Rock Galactic, it's like the driller's arms, or just if you've seen a drill, like a big underground drill that has those like 3 grinding teeth orb things on them. It's like got one of those on each arm, and it's
if
imagine
you've done
watching
any mining lately, you would have seen one of these. Okay,
Look,
any legit miner knows.
I've watched a lot of weird things, but it's but just imagining I'm imagining watching your friend Gary's face just get shredded by one of these things.
Gary, no! I grew up with him.
So after the siege drills, you've got hurricane bolters, which are optional replacements for the ironclad assault launchers. You can have twin-linked melta-guns instead of your flamers. An omniscope that can be taken by a Centurion sergeant, and this allows advanced targeting to more accurately, you know, more advanced targeting with your weapons. So probably good for especially the longer ranged weapons. Your meltas and your flamers probably aren't going to need that advanced targeting systems.
Those fists, though, if you really want to get all of Gary and not just his face, maybe you got to get the targeter.
There you go.
Yeah.
And they can these things apparently can fit in land raiders, so you could any type.
Yeah, that's a crazy thought. You grab some scales and he literally would have to like crawl in and out of the fucking thing like hands and knees, like, which I don't think they could physically do by themselves anyway.
I don't think so either. Yeah, like that's I'm a little skeptical of that, but I mean,
yeah, I don't even know if they can move yet. Like, you know, I need to see an animation of them even just standing, walking, moving. They're that kind of lumberous.
Yeah, they need maybe like you can fit 2 Centurions in a Land Raider as opposed to like 8 space or whatever.
Oh man, look at that scale difference. He's taller than the fucking Land Raider.
Yeah.
A little bit classic. Yeah, so that's the Centurion Assault Squads, the Centurion Devastator Squads. We're gonna get some ranged weapons here. So they get the war suit. You get basically matching war gear in each hands, either twin-linked heavy bolters. You get your hurricane bolters in your chest. You could get missile launchers in your chest, so it shoots out little frags. You could get twin-linked las cannons on your hands. You could get grav cannon with a grav amp. Or you could get the omniscope as well. There's las cannons. There's meltas and flame. There's a couple things too there that I've bought a bunch of these, and there's a lot of bits that come on this sprue. Like, there's so many different little weird options, and yeah, man.
I want to buy these so bad. Like, once I'm finished with my Votan army and I start building my stuff for my Imperial Fists, I'm just because I think they're cool. Like, I don't care if I ever use them in a game or whatever. They just look so fucking cool.
Yeah, we need like a chapter of like all the firstborn misfits where it's like, okay, we have a bunch of these fucking Centurion warsuits and they're killer. Unfortunately, the Primaris now are too big to get into them. So we need to make a chapter and all they do is just Centurion warsuits. That's all. And they're just firstborn and that's your job now. You get this cool. All of the Astartes donated their warsuits to this one chapter to make it happen.
I honestly, I really like that idea. Maybe not a whole chapter, but like if some chapters have a like reserve company that is like all warsuits. So it is a, you know, 100 Centurion company of the Iron Hands or the Imperial Fists, since, you know, or whatever. And it's just, it's their mobile fuck you squad. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man. So as I mentioned, there are Chaos Centurions as well. Yeah, anyone can fall to chaos and like, yeah, it seems like you might get driven mad too. which will open up that door to chaos. So, yeah, it'd be cool to see some chaos conversions of these guys. I, for one, when I did my Iron Hands Obliterators army, I did them before the Obliterator new model came out, and I did these Centurion Warsuits, and I put on all the crazy weapons and turned them into Obliterators. And then that Obliterator came out, and I was like, "Oh, fucking tight!" I was right on the money on that. These guys are cool. They're cool. I've built a bunch. I love them.
Are you sure you don't have like some kind of foresight or something? Because like this is like the third time that you've like done something or talked about something, and then GW's come out with it later.
Yeah, either it's none of this is real and I'm just living in a simulation. How else would any of this make sense? Or I don't know. God's fucking with me. I guess I don't know what to tell you, buddy. So that's the Warsuit, and honestly, that is really the only Warsuit in the Astartes Armoury. In current times, we do have the Dread Knight that the Grey Knights use, but I don't really count Grey Knights as like your standard Space Marines. They're
super special.
Yeah, they're super special. They operate different. They don't use the same war gear. So they're a little different. However,
carriers.
Baby carriers. Yeah, there's also the Paragon Warsuit where it's the female carriers where the Sisters of Battle, they have their little Paragon Warsuit. But in 30k times, they have the Saturnine Terminator Armor. And even though it has Terminator Armor in the name, and even though it's always linked in with Terminator Armor, I think nowadays it's not Terminator Armor. We'll read a bit about it, and then we'll start making some arguments of why this Terminator Armor is in the Warsuits.
Well, might as well read about it first. So, Saturnine Terminator Armor. Saturnine Pattern Terminator Armor, also known as Saturnine Terminator Armor, is an impenetrable configuration of tactical dreadnought warplate from the Great Crusade. Revered as the apex of Astartes protection, short of fusion into a dreadnought's sarcophagus, a colossal, augmented bulwark with the presence of a mobile fortress. First unleashed in mass formations upon the ashen wastes of Isfahan V during the Drop Site Massacre, this Saturnine warplate was personally designed and forged by Vulcan, Primarch of the Salamanders, its silhouette towering, heavier, and more relentless than the commonly issued Cataphracti or Tartarus patterns of tactical dreadnought armor. Born of the arcane weapon lore of the age of technology, its frame-mounted focused energy projectors and layered empiric shielding, granting its Astartes wearers a level of fortified resilience far beyond legend, enabling them to advance through incandescent ruin as unstoppable, awe-inspiring engines of war. Yet after the grinding years of the Galactic Civil War, few suits of Saturnine Terminator armor are believed to have endured beyond the dying embers of the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, I think you either love this armor or you hate it. I got some pictures pulled up of these shoulder pads that house void shields and all this kind of crazy stuff. Very cool, man. This is a model that had a reincarnation, really. Let's see if I can find the old model of this. So once upon a time, we had some old school art, such as this guy on the left here. We had these weird proportioned, huge ass shoulder pad Terminators. And here's another great example of one. But nowadays, we got this update not too long ago where they came out with this, and they are huge.
I really like it. I also agree with Minifee. The one there with the hammer and like that electric blue glow just looks so good. It looks sick.
Yeah, they're tight. I love them. Yeah, how the fuck would you operate one of these? Like, does it seem practical to be in this? Is this like your apex combat war machine? You can barely even waddle across the battlefield. But man, it has the drip, so I'm on it. I love it.
I'll be completely honest. When it first came out, when they were announcing the second edition for the Horus Heresy game, I hated it for the exact reason that Mark had just mentioned. Like, this does not look practical at all. But then I looked to other models that were coming out at the time, and then I look at the fucking Desolator squad for the Primaris Marines. I'm like, no, these guys have drip. I like them now.
That's so funny. Yeah, that one was a bad one.
I will say I do like it for Dreadnought armor as opposed to, I mean, I guess it could be Dreadnought armor and a Warsuit. Or sorry, not Dreadnought armor, Terminator armor. Because, Terminator armor is tactical Dreadnought armor. And I do think the Saturnine is a really good, it has the look of being a Dreadnought, but while still having more flexibility than a Dreadnought. Like, you can be in this armor and wield melee weapons, but you can still wield the heavier assault weapons that like Dreadnoughts are usually carrying. So to me, it really strikes that balance between power armor and a Dreadnought.
Yeah, and it's almost like a precursor to Centurion Armour, where we're talking it's very cumbersome. It's not very nimble. Like the melee weapons are not your typical melee weapons, where this is Horus Heresy, that old tech. It's crisper, it's round, it's sleek, it's a little more functional. I also say it's kind of like that precursor, just on the way a lot of the different design parts kind of happen. I got a list at the end when we get through it, but we'll just tease in for now.
I can definitely see that precursor aspect, that like they kind of wanted something that was a little bit in between even the like I forget what the pattern of Dreadnought, like the Cataphracti armor and the Saturnine Dreadnought armor, and the Centurion is almost kind of like, I feel a little bit of a middle ground between those two as well.
Yeah.
All right. So the history of it. During the closing years of the Great Crusade, the Primarch Vulcan forged 20 unparalleled suits of master-wrought tactical dreadnought armor for his Salamander's Legion. These war relics rose beyond Astartes' scale, towering, widened, and impossibly weight-laden, dwarfen Eving Cataphracti and Indominus plate. Each was anchored upon a fortified exo-frame reminiscent of the colossal forge-rig hardsuits of Nocturne's deep clans. That armored skeleton was then entombed beneath layers of sloped, heat-quenched ceramite and adamantium, engineered to turn aside pulverizing impact and armor-burrowing munitions. Their plates once bore the emerald and obsidian tones of the salamanders, yet in battle they soon blackened into volcanic ghosts, indistinguishable from the ash storms surrounding them. This prototype warplate, whispered as the Nocturne pattern, was less armor and more an unstoppable, fire-crowned siege engine given form. The left gauntlet of each suit was a crucible of close assault devastation. Power fists, roaring chain blades, or incandescent lightning claws designed to tear open bulkheads, breach fortresses, and dissect corrupted engines of war with unrelenting force. In the right gauntlet, the warriors bore armaments chosen for annihilation: combi bolters, plasma dischargers, elongated Volkite culverines, or even triple-throated rotary autocannons that churned steel into ruin. This Saturnine pattern Terminator armor incorporated the Saturnine Aquila across its breastplate, binding the tech enclaves to the broader Imperium. What truly distinguished these early suits, however, were the auxiliary weapon systems grafted into the pauldrons and power cores. Hard points for las cannons, multi-meltas, heavy flamers, conversion beamers, and armor-shattering missile arrays. These were not hand-aimed but enslaved to a mind impulse unit, allowing the Terminator to unleash converging streams of death at multiple foes simultaneously. When these juggernauts advanced, their arrival birthed cyclones of flame and force from every limb and plate.
Just even kind of with some of these war gear options, it's like fist in one hand, gun in the other. It's very Terminator reminiscent. And then with war gear, like that comes roll as well. So very similar roll.
Exactly. Like if you're going to have like a mounted las cannon or like some like a Volkite culverin, like those are going to be longer range as opposed to if you had like the meltas mounted, which are going to be closer range weapons.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So teleport synchronizers embedded within the immense pauldrons linked directly to the transponders of senior Legion officers, permitting instant battlefield insertion. Each warrior encased within this adamantine labyrinth became a rampart of living wrath, able to lock down corridors, breach chambers, or dominate choke points alone. In void ship guts, siege tunnels, or molten breach zones, these Terminators strode as augmented demigods of fire, vaporizing Xenos horrors, traitor brethren, and warp spawn in incandescent torrents. Despite their colossal mass, these suits employed heat bleed pylons, enabling prolonged operation in hellish thermal realms, from volcanic furnace cities to orbital reentry assaults. Yet their magnificence carried peril. Their arcane systems demanded entire artificer forges and elite tech marines to sustain. The MIU interfaces, though brutally effective, ravaged the wearer's mind, burning synapses or reducing the operator to ruin after extended combat. Overloaded power cores could collapse into catastrophic feedback if too many weapons discharged at once, threatening immolation even to the Astartes within. A veteran of the Blood Angels Legion, clad in Saturnine plate, bearing an Oculix targeting auspex, wielded twin-linked heavy disintegrators and a power fist, symbolic of the fearsome might these suits projected. Despite their terrifying presence and unmatched destructive integration, these prototypes were ultimately unsustainable. Their mass, maintenance burdens, and lethal neural load doomed them as Legion-wide equipment. As the Great Crusade's scope expanded and logistical uniformity became essential, the Imperium phased out such singular forge-bound relics in favor of more manufacturable and dependable tactical dreadnought plate. Foremost among these was the Saturnine pattern Terminator armor, which preserved the resilience of the Nocturne pattern while improving reliability and reducing neural strain. Thus, while Vulcan's prototype designs endure as blazing legends of Astartes' ingenuity and ferocity, it was the Saturnine pattern that would stride into the unending wars of mankind's bleak future. Okay, so yeah, the Saturnine that we have is not like, because I remember there was also some talk before of like, did Vulcan create the Saturnine armor or what have you? And it looks like sort of like he created the prototype Saturnine that would fuck up the wearer, and then it was revised down into the Saturnine pattern Terminator armor that we have today, quote unquote, in the past in the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, just like with power armor, how we have different marks. There definitely seem to have been some different marks of the Saturnine. And it's kind of neat how they did that. Like this old school artwork I have here with the on top gun. Like they call that the Nocturne pattern now, where it's pretty different scale wise in appearance and similar, obviously very similar, but like it's a different thing than the new model. So it's cool how they kind of did that, where you pay homage to the old stuff, but then you kind of build off it and you come out with this beefy boy.
And I appreciate that, like paying the homage to the old artwork, to the old lore. Like you don't want to forget it and just trample over it. It's nice to have those references.
Well, like I'm working on a Saturnine Terminator right now, and I did that over the head gun. Like that's tight. Like it seems impractical as fuck, but like that's that holdover weird 40K artwork. So I carried it on for my guy.
Well, and if you think about it, like the way if everything is still linked, like it talked about, where it's linked through like the neural fibers and everything, and is as fast as Astartes' brains work, I'm sure they can punch somebody and shoot the gun and aim the overhead cannon all at the same time.
It's like I'm not made for war. I'm more made for like petting cats and stuff and going swimming in the ocean and stuff.
Hey man, I've got 3 cats. I'm all for hanging out with my cats, watching, a good movie and drinking a beer or whatever. But like we're talking about like the overhead gun and everything, the way they linked. I didn't realize this. I just learned this, that the Space Marine, your helmets, the eyes aren't like eyes or visors. They're all cameras inside those eye plates. And so the Space Marine is like looking at the displays in the armor, but can't actually see out of it. Like
interesting.
So
yeah.
Getting all those feeds from your different guns and having to do that, it reminds me a little bit of the way it's described the Tau run their battle suits, where they use like eye flicks and eye movements to do things. And I think it was one of the short stories in the Nexus collection, Gerald, that you've read also, that they describe as Astartes as like blink flicking different like messages away of like different statuses of their compatriots and stuff. So again, still using those like eye tracking movements like within your helmet.
Yeah. Like even their guns, the bolt gun, if you can see where my mouse is, this little nub under the barrel, that's a camera as well. So now you're flicking exactly where that camera is going. You're flicking like, you're carrying two different guns. Now you got two guns, two eyeballs. You're flicking between all these different things.
And in the original Astartes animation, if you pay close attention, where one is being like held up and levitated by a psyker, like you see something like pop out of like one of his eye lenses. You think that's like the dude crushed his eye, but that's actually like all the optical equipment in the eye lens that just kind of burst from the psychic energy.
Oh, okay. Neat.
Cool. Very cool. All right. The development of Saturnine pattern. Among the countless tactical dreadnought armor patterns forged during the Imperium's ascendance, none command such dreadborn reverence as the Saturnine pattern. This prototype warplate was the apex of Terminator design, monolithic, over-engineered, and terrifying in its scale. An armor not worn so much as endured. Its origins are lost in shadow, yet Imperial savants attest that unlike most relics of mankind's arsenal, this god-heavy plate was not birthed in the consecrated forges of Mars, but in the hidden techno-ministries of Saturn. Sanctum bastions whose allegiance to the Mechanicus was unquestioned, yet whose methods bordered on the arcane. Saturnine Terminator armor emerges in the historical strata besides the early power armor forms fielded in the Unification Wars. Yet, whereas other patterns trace lineage to Terra or Mars, this one is marked by exile, crafted. It is said by the Mechanicus sect, cast out to the ninth moon of Saturn, Phoebe, during the Age of Strife. The truth remains forbidden. Access to that moon is barred to all save the highest wards of the Imperial household, though the vault forges their birth wonders beyond mortal comprehension. Whispers claim the armor's genesis lies in Xenotech catacombs beneath Titan, or in the corrupted STC archives buried in the Scolian vaults of the Enceladus. Whatever its vile inception, Saturnine Warplate was a masterpiece of pre-heresy augmentation, too complex to replicate, too sanctified to trust widely. Vast and relentless, the armor towered over all Legion infantry. Its signature downward curving pauldrons, wrought from adamantium and ceramite layers, shielded servo clusters and concealed defensive emitters, thermal diffractive grids, pulse dampening lattice fields, and Shalknull matrices, and any other techno mumbo jumbo you think you can fit in those massive shoulder pads, you can. Its reinforced pulstron cowl swallowed the helm deep within the chest, forging a brutalized silhouette built to punch through fortified fire lanes and survive a full fury of enemy barricades. Only void ship scale melta-lances and titanic turbo lasers could hope to pierce its ironclad hide. The propaganda machine for these guys is working full force. I love it. Within its adamantium skeleton hummed power stacks capable of supporting beyond cataphracti tolerances, plasma bombs, heavy disintegrators, and disruption fists. But its deadliest edge lay in the teleportation synchronizers embedded in the pauldron's mass-enabled instantaneous deployment via officer-born transponders. Saturnine Terminators did not merely arrive, they impacted, slamming into fortifications like guided annihilation. Yet the very power of the Saturnine armor, unstoppable, ensured its scarcity. Its construction devoured resource, its arc cores demanded rituals of activations, its dense interfacing required legionaries of unbreakable will. Introduced in small numbers during the late Unification era, this armor combined proto-power plate with deep void exo-rigs, once crafted for survival in reactor malls and starship calamities. Refined by Imperial artisans, it was trailed into the Sol System's last blood-choked battles. Its use crested in the Great Crusade's dawn, but the armor's immense demand saw it gradually eclipsed by more efficient patterns such as Cataphracti and Tartarus. Yet Saturnine plate did not vanish. Vulcan, Master Smith, Guardian, and Legend sought to resurrect its lost brilliance. Though unmatched craft, he unlocked secrets no artisan before him could breach and shared these revelations with his brother Primarchs. But betrayal had already festered. Thus, the first mass deployment of newly forged Saturnine armor came not in triumph, but in tragedy upon the black sands of Istaman V, where the Salaman legions was sundered. In the heresy's wake, Saturnine technology turned against the Imperium that birthed it. Those few warriors who bore the dread plate became avatars of ruin, slow, unstoppable, augmented engines of doom, armed with the wrath of a lost golden age. Today, Saturnine Terminator armor stands as a mythical relic. If any suit endures, they lie sealed in forgotten vaults or upon the shoulders of silent heroes, known only to ashes in the long dark between the stars. Had the Great Crusade endured unbroken, Terminator armor might have ascended as the Legion standard. But the heresy ravaged the Imperial forges, and its cost in blood and industry was total. In the bleak centuries that followed, mankind would never again command the means to birth such impenetrable giants at scale.
We just can't have nice things, can we?
Nah, man. Yeah, it's crazy, like, thinking that this thing can tank starship cannons and stuff. Like, it's got little void shield generators in it and all that kind of fun gizmos. Like, okay.
It seems like a squad of these you could deploy to, like, go after even, like, a Titan, potentially.
Yeah, and have a decent shot. Like, yeah, you get the ambush with the teleport on, and maybe you fucking cripple it just enough.
Like, teleport in, take out its leg, and it just falls over, and then you can just have at it, and it can't do a whole lot.
Exactly.
I do and don't like the sort of, like, the wibbly wobbly history of when the Saturnine armor came into be, or maybe I'm just like the timeline is not right in my brain, because it talks about Vulcan crafting the first 20 suits, but it also talks about, well, some people say they were forged like they were first entered in during the Unification Wars, and so like its history is like super murky.
Yeah, and that's definitely for sure a thing with it. Where when like they tried to pay homage to that old stuff, but then you have to like retcon some stuff, and yeah, it gets a little wild.
And I think sorry, go ahead.
If you look at this, like I had that artwork, but then I also have the actual mini pulled up as well, the old mini. And if you're looking at the base that it's on, that's like a 25 millimeter base. Like the scale of that is such a different thing than what we're used to. So yeah, we could try to explain that Vulcan made this type, and like it was a compact version almost, and then it got to the big version, and then he tried to like get to it again. But I think you're right, man. It just kind of needs a little tighten up.
Like if I was going to rewrite the Saturnine lore, it'd be like, so it does first come in during the Unification Wars, and it was, you could maybe say that like the Saturnine armor was power armor that maybe elite Thunder Warriors used, and that's why it was so big and bulky, and it was okay that they were short-lived. And then after that, like during the Age of Strife, Mars was redeveloping, or like they'd been working on their like the Saturnine armor during their period while they were separated during the warp storms, and then when they came back into the Imperium during the Great Crusade, Vulcan rediscovered it and forged his 20 new suits of Saturnine armor, and then it was refined into the Saturnine Terminator armor during the Horus Heresy. That's, I guess, like that's the timeline I would kind of give it if I was going to do it.
Yeah, seems more smooth for sure. Yeah.
Shall we move on to their operational aspects?
I just say one thing, just the it's come up a couple times, but just the idea of just the Saturnine armor orbital dropping like Master Chief into a war zone and just impact crater and just excellent visual.
Yeah, for sure.
Very
Just orbital
cinematic.
drop Terminators. Love it.
It's just crazy that these things, it's like you could dedicate the entire planet, an entire planet's resources to making one of these things somehow, and like hopefully you can still make it. Like they're just so
Right.
intensive.
Just shoot one out of a cannon at a planet to have it land down there.
They're very durable, thankfully, but hard to make.
Fantastic. So, operational aspects. Every element of Saturnine pattern Terminator armor was engineered with uncompromising intent. Its colossal frame was reinforced to bear weapons so immense that lesser Terminator patterns would collapse beneath their recoil and power demands. I'm getting an image of like a cataphracti Terminator, like shooting one of those like shoulder or overhead mounted cannons, and then just like flying backwards like a noisy cricket from Men in Black.
Yeah, fuck. Now he's just turtling on his back with his big shoulders, like.
Oh man. Its internal reactor was a supercharged arc core, potent enough to drive multiple directed energy batteries at once, while an integrated thermal diffraction lattice bled off the lethal backlash of its own plasma discharges, safeguarding the augmented warrior entombed within. Precision-locked autosenses and multi-spectrum targeting rays enabled Saturnine wrought legionnaires to unleash volleys from numerous heavy systems with machine-perfect accuracy. Yet even among the Astartes, few possessed the iron will required to command such a warplate. Only minds of a relentless discipline could endure its invasive command thrones and neural feedback cycles. Some whisper that the armor demanded a fragment of cyberthurgic resonance, an ember of psychic attunement to harmonize with its deep-wired machine soul, though none dared speak of it openly. In truth, Saturnine plate required both rare technic aptitude and a minor psychometric spark beyond the norm for a space marine, though far from the might of a librarian. Despite the difficulty in finding suitable pilots, each legion deployed Saturnine suits in limited but decisive strength throughout the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy, its overwhelming tactical supremacy eclipsing every cost, every burden, and every soul it consumed.
Worth it. Fucking worth it.
It's like, no, but it's gonna be cool. I know it's gonna take your entire planet's resources forever, but it's gonna be freaking sweet.
It's gonna be fucking cool. Can we ride it? No.
Right? A couple things to get out of my brain real quick before I forget. When you were talking about the shoulders before, Mark, I imagined that meme of like the used car salesman just like slap Saturnine Terminator shoulders. These babies can fit so much techno jargon in them.
Yeah, man.
The other thing is because I do that GW uses real words for the naming conventions, or there's at least like some interesting roots because the founders of Games Workshop were all like anthropologists and history nerds. So Saturnine is a real word, and it means slow, gloomy, moody, or mysterious. So it's like the emo pattern dreadnought armor.
Jeez. What language is that a word in? Is that English?
So Saturnine is an English word. Let me look for its.
Well, I guess the meta question is, what's the root word? I suppose.
So it comes from medieval Latin Saturninus into Old French of Saturnin, and then Saturnine is late Middle English.
Interesting. Cool. The gloomy emo armor. I like that.
I also but also like the slow, sluggish aspect of it. Like I think all of it does in its own way represent like this armor in its origins.
Yeah. Cool. And they have a bunch of different war gear options you can slap on these bad boys. I'm sure this is not the only Saturnine Terminators that we're going to get. Like these ones that we got seem very range oriented. There's no way we're not going to get like some melee guys with lightning claws or just. They sold like hotcakes. There's no way we're not seeing other variants, but this is what we got so far.
Yeah. So like some of the stuff they have, we've got. So let's see. Saturnine armor is an overwhelming exoplate of unstoppable mass and firepower, engineered to wield weapons too heavy and destructive for any other Terminator. Like Gerald just talked about, like it would just knock over anything like a turtle. They've got plasma bombards, which is a blind firing plasma and siege cannon that allows Saturnine Terminators to annihilate targets across vast battlefield arcs without ever exposing themselves. So that like long range siege warfare. The Saturnine Disruption Fist, an exotic power gauntlet that delivers vehicle shattering, Terminator killing force with a single augmented strike. So just like, imagine just punching a cataphractine Terminator and it just explodes.
Yeah.
The Oculix targeting aspects, which is a machine spirit guided and sensor array that enables simultaneous heavy weapon target acquisition at the cost of the armor's mobility. So this, I think, is really interesting. It almost sounds like to use this Auspex, it lets the machine spirit do its own thing, which seems real close to AI. But while it's like the best targeting you can get, but you almost have to stop moving to devote the armor's power to this Auspex range.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
They've got a thermal
you just let the machine just purge.
Yeah, just let the machine go and like it does target acquisition on its own for you, which I think is really interesting. They've got a thermal diffraction field, which is a protective energy lattice that bleeds off the lethal plasma backwash. So it's a heat sink so that it doesn't overheat itself and explode, which is really helpful for the pilot. The Saturnine teleportation transponder, so a specialized teleport beacon required to safely extract these heavily shielded suits through teleportariums without catastrophic energy failure. Let's see, more plasma bombards and a twin-linked heavy disintegrator. So this paired disintegration array replaces the disruption fist to unleash armor-rending volleys capable of erasing entire elite infantry and dreadnoughts in a single broadside. So I want those things erased from existence.
Yeah. And these weapons that it has are very like exotic weapons. It's like plasma, like disintegrator. It's not like he's carrying around rocket launchers or something like that. Like they're very, very high tech. Their leaders, the Praetors, also can carry Saturnine war axes, which are massive axes. Power lattice axe engineered to cleave through fortified armor, and hammers, concussive hammers. A thunderous shock weapon that delivers seismic bone-shattering impacts, and also a plasma blaster, which is a compact dual-coil plasma weapon that unleashes rapid, blistering energy bursts powerful enough to melt ceramite plate at close range. I like this little dual coil. Twice as many coils, twice as many chances to roll ones and have it explode in your face. So very nice. So that's the Saturnine Terminator armor. If you listen to that last episode, the Terminator armor episode, I included here because I just feel like it's more of a war suit, especially in today's kind of interpretation. If we were still looking at this style of Saturnine armor with like that old school art, it wouldn't be. But when we get into this Saturnine Terminator armor that's new, we get all these pistons on the leg. We get that classic kind of enhancement. I got a list of everything. So we get the exoskeletons. The other big thing is there's no Crux Terminatus on the Saturnine Terminator armor. And every Terminator armor, as we know, contains a little tiny fraction of the Emperor's armor, but not these guys.
That's true, because they even had that. So did they have the Crux Terminatus back during the Heresy? Like, did those original cataphracti have those? I forget.
Yeah, there were. They're definitely on the models. So whether maybe that was like one of the Emperor's early armors, and he's had a couple runs.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, did he have to stop every so often during the Great Crusade and mail back shavings of his armor back to Mars when they were forging more Terminator armor?
Yeah, he gets shot. Like the scribes go, quick, get that little chink of armor, get it. Scrapes stuff up. Yeah. So they also have the similar piston design. Like I'm telling you, like the exact same piston design as the Centurions. Including this little nub on the back leg. This little piston nub. They're just, when you look at all the pistons, yeah, it's bang on. The proportions are also like the Centurions, and where your legs kind of go halfway down, and then your arms, there's no way that those go into the actual unit of the arms. Like they must be crossed in the coffin with you. They got that classic enlarged shoulder pad, and then they have similar heavy weapons as well, where they're rocking like just the heaviest weapons you can kind of take. But I think the big thing is their war suit because of that exoskeleton.
Shall we commence with the arguments? Yay or nay?
Because the problem is like there are good points for your argument, Mark, especially the proportions and the pistons.
The double P's will get you every time.
Double P's, yeah. But I don't know, like just I don't know. I do, because again, I do think it is tactical. It is a tactical dreadnought in that, again, still in that respect. But I think it can be both, because it's closer to a dreadnought than like the cataphracti. Again, not calling it Terminator, but calling it tactical dreadnought armor from that like original verbiage. So if we separated Terminator armor from the term tactical dreadnought armor, I would call the Saturnine a like tactical dreadnought warsuit, and then Terminator armor is its own thing.
Okay.
I would think I would even go so. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you joked.
I was gonna say I would even go so far as to say just call it like a tactical warsuit. Take dreadnought or Terminator out of it, because when you call something a tactical dreadnought, anyways, I immediately think to the box knots, the sarcophagus, not the Saturnine, not the Crux Terminatus Terminators, not the Cataphracti, none of that stuff. So you're already conflating a lot of different terminology for the same similar types of armor.
Yeah, right. And this is again, it's what 40 years of lore and verbiage and writers going into all of this stuff. So
but I think by far not the most egregious offense of what we could be mad about.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah.
Like I'm still pissed off, but it's not the worst.
This is again, like if we're just splitting hairs, like Minifee said, we're just splitting hairs over the verbiage. I agree. I don't think it's not the same as what we think of Terminator armor as being, but I do see it as like, again, being like an actual weapons platform, like a dreadnought, but more versatile than a dreadnought would be.
Yeah, like it very clearly does take on the same role as every other Terminator armor.
Yeah.
So, So that's kind of why, there's no right or wrong answers. Ultimately, it's all made up, but that's what I've written down. So, bango. The Imperium does have other warsuits we'll quickly get into. I don't think we need to read that warsuits blurb. I think we get the concept of that, but we will talk about the Dread Knight and the Paragon warsuits real quick. As just a little mention of what they kind of look like.
All right. So the Dread Knight. The Nemesis Dread Knight is the ultimate expression of the Grey Knight's doctrine of unstoppable, implacable demon-slaying might. A towering exo-frame designed not to shield its pilot, but to unleash him. Bound into a cyber throne harness that amplifies his psychic will and martial precision, the Grey Knight operates the Dread Knight as an extension of his own sanctified body, channeling thought speed commands to adamantium limbs and nemesis weapons large enough to gut greater demons. Its armor is layered with hexagrammic wards, etheric anchors, and psychic resonators that let it stride through warp-torn battlefields where mortal engines fail. The result is a relentless divine juggernaut, a warrior and a war machine fused into one, built to confront abyssal horrors at point-blank range and erase them with consecrated fire and impossible strength.
Yeah, fucking cool, man. You got this like 25 foot tall skeletal mech with a Grey Knight just strapped in the front of it, wielding a giant sword. Love it.
I heard this somewhere else, but yeah, it's the Grey Knight is strapped into the Warsuit like a baby Bjorn.
Yeah. Oh, the baby carrier.
Baby carrier.
Yeah. When we're just going back to that Warsuit kind of concept, like it's such a not strict category. Like when you look at the way this guy operates, like he's definitely got all these pistols, like it's definitely an exoskeleton, but like this one doesn't look like it's enhancing his strength necessarily, maybe his leg strength a little bit, but not really. Like he's standing on those stilts, like he's kind of piloting this thing.
To throw in to double nerd again, as Court likes to say, and we have like to come to call it, there is a cartoon from the 80s. I don't know if any of you have seen it, called Exo Squad. And the way these are piloted reminds me a lot about that, especially with the like hands having the controls. And so like you move the controls, and when you move the controls, it moves the arm. I feel like, if you look at like Exo Squad mechs or something like that, because I had pulled up on, do Exo Squad mechs, and you'll see what their suits look like.
Okay.
And it looks a lot more like those. Yeah.
Cool new conversions inbound.
Right. Like I said, like it has the feet in the pistons, and you move your foot and it moves the piston. You move your arms with those controls and it moves the controls. So your movements, because like I don't think it's an enhancing it, but your movements are what moves the suit, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So we'll chalk that into a war suit, but you could get into a fist fight in a bar too many drinks in over this one, because it's not entirely
I probably would.
I hope you do one day. It sounds like a great story.
That's how. I like the the category of war suit versus like an exo frame or like
The final war suit we'll talk about is the Paragon war suit of the Sisters of Battle. So they embody the faith-forged defiance of the Sisters of Battle, transforming elite Celestines into towering icons of unstoppable devotion. Clad in citadel-plated ceramite, sculpted with holy script and martyr's relief, these suits combine the mobility of power armor with the crushing strength of a walking reliquary engine. Their pilots, chosen for unshakable resolve, guide the suit through the blessed neuro interfaces that responds with much conviction as muscle, allowing Paragons to wade through heretic gun lines with serene, burning purpose. Armed with the heavy flamers, maces of the righteous, and sanctified blades fit for an angel of vengeance, Paragon-equipped sisters advance like living statues of divine wrath, unyielding, awe-inspiring, and utterly relentless in the Emperor's name. Yeah, fucking cool. I like these ones too, man. I'm telling you, you put power armor on power armor and you got a winner.
It's so good. And these look very much like they're piloted the same as the Dread Knights, where your legs are locked in and you move your legs and it moves the suit. You move your arms on the controls and it moves the suit.
The one kind of, once again, slightly different thing is like you don't see the legs. Like this one, you're in it. You're in the armor a little bit for your torso and your legs, but your arms are once again exposed. But like you were saying with the Grey Knight suit, it's pretty much the same mechanics, just enclosed.
Yeah.
I like it, man. I feel like anytime, I've always been a mech person. Like my first army was Tau because of the mechs. So anytime there's a war suit, a mech, or any type of anything like this, I just want to do an army of them.
Yeah, they just look so. A group of those striding across the battlefield would be amazing.
Yeah, for sure. The sisters have a couple. Like they have, I forget what they call the redemption dreadnoughts.
Oh, the penitent engines. I was going to bring that up. Yeah. I was going to ask where you would put the penitent engines, and I know we talked about the Invictus warsuits a little bit too.
I think the penitent engine is once again like the warsuit. I'm just pulling it up right here to look exactly. Oh, maybe not.
I wouldn't consider the penitent engine a warsuit, given it's made as a punishment.
Well, it's been as punishment, and sorry, go ahead.
No, you.
So from what I could be wrong, from what I understand, the person inside is more of a like battery than actually controlling it like in a cohesive way. Like it because like the argoflagellates just like go into a battle rage and just attack everything. And they're kind of, I think they're what's stuck into the penitent engines, but I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right. Like even just looking at these pictures, they are chained to the machines and they will have like a headset on, but like they don't have any controls in their hands, like joysticks or anything. There's no real servo or no like plug-in joints on them and stuff. Like you're right. Like they're not piloting these things. They're just kind of strapped to them and then their brain being used as chip. On this picture here, there's clearly like this guy's like in a fucking sarcophagus, like bound, gagged, fuck you, go to war.
I mean, it's almost like they remind me a little bit of like a stripped down dreadnought, like a dreadnought for a basic human a little bit.
Yeah.
Where you power it and you're like you said, your brain's kind of like a basic CPU so it can attack, but you don't have much thought.
Yeah.
If I remember my reading correct, like there are some sensors that are like attached to you so that whatever happens to the suit, you feel it as a sensation so that amplifies your pain. Course. Because obviously this is meant as a punishment. And so like you're just sitting out there just like dick first in the battle, just like going guns blazing. And it's just like, okay, if you're really a believer of the Emperor, he'll protect you. Here you go.
Hey, are you having fun over there? Stop having fun in that penitent machine.
Right. He looks so happy.
He looks so happy.
He's building character.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought about Warsuits. I'm sure there's a couple other ones. The Mechanicus, if we went through them, they have a bunch. Like they got weird guys walking on like stilts and stuff. Like they got a bunch of weird warsuits and stuff, but this is more the Imperium Astartes specifically, so we'll leave it there for now. I think the next episode, I keep saying it's going to be the Holy Bolter, but I'm kind of on this armor theme where I feel like now we have to do, since we did the Terminator, we've done the warsuits, now we got to do the mechs next. It only makes sense. So that's going to be the next episode, I think. We'll talk about dreadnoughts and kind of all their variants and all that kind of fun stuff.
Nice.
Excellent.
Okay, let's fucking wrap it up so we can all get home to our wives and see if we can sneak it in before it gets too late. Hey, if you want to come listen to Lorehammer, listen to Lore, I do record episodes every now and again. Will I upload them? If I remember. But you could maybe send me a reminder. But it's a fun show. Come join. Lorehammer, listen to Lore.
And then whenever you want to listen to podcasts about Warhammer Fantasy, come check out Grimlore. We got another episode coming out this week. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus due to a bunch of holiday shenanigans, but we're getting back on track. So there you go.
Yep, there's always another holiday. Thank goodness, eh? So,
yeah.
Hope you guys all have a good Christmas if you're listening. I will be working. I got Airbnb guests for the Christmas season. It's going to be fun. I'm going to get my skills back up and going.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're not going to miss too many episodes here, but yeah, if you do see a little lull in the feed, just know we're just taking a quick moment off for Christmas breaks, and everyone will see you in the new year.
Right. Let him have his time. He deserves it.
Yes, sir. All right. Adios. We'll see you all later.